President Joe Biden chauffeurs out his plan for student loan debt forgiveness. Peter Doocy spars with Karine Jean-Pierre regarding the student loan debt forgiveness and who the hell is going to pay for it. And Ron DeSantis goes after Dr. Anthony Fauci. All that and more here on The Bald Brad Show. Welcome to The Bald Brad Show. It is Thursday, August 25th, and as always, I couldn't be happier than to spend this fine morning doing The Bald Brad Show and hanging out with all of you, my friends and true American patriots, where we come together as a community of conservatives and Republicans, go over the stories of the day, and bring you all the news and information you need to know about. So heck, if you want to join us here at The Bald Brad Show, and we hope that you do, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're over at Rumble, hit the plus and give us a comment down below. And if you're listening on any of the podcast airwaves, Apple, Google, Spotify, heck folks, you can find us anywhere and everywhere, leave us a lovely 5-star review. Not only would you be helping a conservative, but most importantly, folks, you'd be supporting getting conservative thought and ideas out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. So your help and support would be greatly appreciated. With that being said, folks, we got a jam-packed show for you all. Tons of videos. We got video clips of Joe Biden mocking the press for questioning him on his student loan debt forgiveness plan that he's pushing out. We got Peter Doocy sparring with Karine Jean-Pierre. It's been a while since them two had a matchup. And let me tell you, Peter Doocy is not letting down, folks. So wait till we get to that video clip. You also have Governor Ron DeSantis going after Dr. Anthony Fauci and his handling of COVID-19. So like I said, folks, make sure you got your coffee, your food, your drinks, your tea, whatever it is you have, because we are in for the long haul here. We're going to be doing a lot of damage to this Biden administration like Trump did. We're going to hound that further policies. We're going to hound that further inflation and pushing us into a recession. We got it all for you today, folks. Let's kick it off with our lead story of the day regarding Joe Biden unveiling a plan on Wednesday to cancel $10,000 in student loans per borrower under $125,000, as well as $20,000 per borrower who paid college using Pell Grants. White House officials had been weighing the move for months before officially landing on the $10,000 figure. This is from CNN. That's a bunch of hocus pocus. We started talking about this, heck, over a year ago, 18 months ago. We got video clips of them using the $10,000 figure. So this whole thing of like taking months to weigh which figure they're going to use, they've been on this $10,000 thing for quite some time, even since the presidential campaign. Other Democrats, though, Democratic lawmakers, have supported canceling up to $50,000 per borrower. Thank God he didn't go through that, because $50,000 compared to $10,000 in the long run is a lot of money. The $10,000, which we'll get to in a moment, is astronomical. It's like $300+ billion. Wait till we get to that one. Biden also decided to extend the pause on federal student loan repayment to January 2023, while borrowers with undergraduate loans can cap repayment at 5% of monthly income. Biden said on social media that the policies keep with his campaign promise to eliminate $10,000 of student debt per borrower and will give working and middle-class families breathing room. Honest to God, I was hoping this guy would forget that he even made a campaign promise, because the guy forgets his own damn name. So really hoping that he would have forgot this one, but clearly he didn't. So we missed the nail on that one. Nixing $10,000 of debt per borrower would cost, get this folks, you sitting down for this? $300 billion in 2022. And a total of $329 billion by 2031 if they renew this darn thing each and every year. And this was according to a nonpartisan analysis from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. Less than 32% of the funding would actually benefit Americans who are in the two lowest quartiles or quintiles, while 42% would benefit those earning more than $82,400 per year. Indeed, a report from the Brookings Institute observed that 1/3 of student debt is owed by the wealthiest 20% of households, while only 8% is owned by the bottom 20%. Likely because graduate degrees are often necessary for the most lucrative professions. The policy may offer additional distortions as potential borrowers consider the possibility of future bailouts. Quote, if student loan debt forgiveness is ongoing, students might eventually reorganize their financing toward additional borrowing. This comes from the Wharton Economics School of Thought. A new survey from the CNBC shows that 59% of Americans are worried about student debt cancellation will make inflation worse. Well, if you're just handing out checks like they're hotcakes or getting rid of inflation, people have more money, thus more money can be in circulation. More people can maybe do certain things and make certain transactions. So you're inflating the economy in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, you would think it would increase a tad bit the cause of inflation from it. So there is some truth to that. Nixing student debt is particularly popular among the young. While 30% of overall respondents said that no cancellations should occur, about 19% of adults between 18 and 34 years old maintain such a position. The Biden administration's move has also been criticized by Lawrence Summers, who served as Treasury Secretary under President Bill Clinton and National Economic Council Director under President Barack Obama, who contended on Monday that funds for loan cancellation could be better utilized elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about this at length 18 months ago. Why am I responsible for somebody else's debt? I didn't choose to take out that debt. They chose to take out that debt. If they can't pay it off, how is that my fault or your fault? Does it suck for them? Yeah, but the problem is this. Where does it end? Why are we just going with student loan debt? Why are we not looking at mortgages? Why are we not looking at financing vehicles? That train of thought is up to the individual if they want to pay for something and borrow money of which they don't have money to pay for in the first place. So why are we responsible for footing the bill? He just got done paying out $3.9 billion for ITT Tech students' loans. Granted, some people are like, hey, you know what? They went through some fraudulent stuff. How is that the taxpayers' fault at the end of the day? Again, how is it our fault? It always comes down to us shelling out the money for other people's issues. This is saying, quote, worst idea be in continuation of the current moratorium that benefits among other highly paid surgeons, lawyers, and investment bankers, Summers said. If relief is to be given, it should not set a precedent. It should only be given for the first few $1,000s of debt and for those who genuinely are actually middle class incomes. Summers was a frequent skeptic of the Biden economic agenda despite his own left-wing tendencies, commented on social media that the potential loan cancellation is unreasonably generous, could contribute to higher levels of inflation and more colleges hiking their prices. Every dollar spent on student loan relief is a dollar that could have gone to support those who don't get the opportunity to go to college, Summers explained. Student loan debt relief is spending that raises demand and increases inflation. It consumes resources that could be better used helping those who did not. For whatever reason, having the chance to attend college, it will also tend to be inflationary by raising tuitions. Now, I'm not sure if I'm fully on board with that because just because the government on this go around is going to pay off the tuition for those that had prior student loans would cause the demand for college to go up, as well as that would have the effect of those tuitions going up as well because the demand went up. I'm not sure if I'm fully on board with that. If they do extend it through 2031, then there's a possibility, I think, of that actually occurring. But I don't know if I'm fully on board with that idea of, well, because you're paying off somebody's student loans from a prior period in time of which they already graduated, you would have to make the assumption then that they're going to go back to college. And because there's a demand of them going back to college, colleges are going to raise their prices to go to that very college or those institutions. So we'll see about that one, but I do believe it's going to increase inflation. This led to a video clip here where White House reporters were questioning Biden, and rightfully so, on, well, what about the other people like me who paid off all my loans? I paid over $62,000 off in student loans in a year and a half. I worked like 3 jobs to be able to do that. I'm not banking on government handouts. I'm not banking on you as the Bald Brad Show viewers for handouts to pay off my student loans, of which I chose to take out. I signed the contract myself. You didn't sign that contract. Your friends didn't sign that contract. Your family members, other Americans didn't sign that contract. I signed that contract. I'm responsible for it. Nobody else. So he gets pushed on this, and just look at his response from this. It's so frustrating to watch this. It's so frustrating.
Mr. President, is this unfair to people who paid their student loans or chose not to take out loans?
Is it fair to people who, in fact, do not own multi-billion-dollar businesses if you want these guys to give them all a tax breaks? Is that fair? What do you think?
What about people who paid their loans, though, struggled to pay their loans, and now others don't have to?
So that was the voice of the gladiator, Peter Doocy, voicing reason into the president's mind, but he's going off on this whole thing about billionaire and these corporations getting tax breaks, and why shouldn't we get tax breaks? What? What does it have to do with putting the responsibility on the taxpayers to pay off somebody else's debt? What is this guy talking about? White House officials had been weighing again this move for months. Quote, it is unfair to people who paid their student loans or chose not to take out the loans in the first place, a reporter asked Biden. Can we just talk about what he said? Is it fair to people who, in fact, do not own multi-billion-dollar businesses to see one of these guys give them all the tax breaks? Is that fair? Biden snapped back. What do you think? If you don't like the tax code, Biden, your own party is in Congress. You guys roll all three branches of government. So if you're going to complain about the tax code, the guy that just wants to implement through his Inflation Reduction Act 87,000 IRS agents, then why don't you just remove the tax breaks? You could do it. Not him specifically, but you can have the government do it. You could sign off on it, Biden. But no, he wants to complain about it and say some weird ass thing about multi-billion-dollar businesses. Let me know in the comments. That's weird, right? We're talking about student loan debt forgiveness, of which somebody made, again, the decision to take out the loan themselves. And you're going to correlate that in some way, shape, or form. I don't even know how you get a rough analogy out of that, of correlating it to multi-billion-dollar businesses. You get a tax break if you're paying off your student loans, a 1098E form. So you get a tax break for it. It's an adjustment. Honest to God, this really baffled me. And I don't know why I should be baffled, because it's Joe Biden. And the guy probably didn't even know where he was going after this meeting or who the hell was talking to him. But this is literally what we're dealing with now. So you have the Brookings Institute says it's probably going to cause inflation. It's not really going to do everything they say it's going to do. You have the Wharton School of Economics saying the same thing from Pennsylvania. Literally his own left-winging people that support him say that's probably going to cause inflation. Some of them are even going as far as we just said that it's going to increase demand. So this is what's going on from the Biden administration. I didn't think it was going to happen. I was hoping it wouldn't happen, but now it's happening here. So now we're stuck with the Biden administration pushing this whole agenda. Luckily, Peter Doocy not only pushed on Biden about that question didn't get answered, but now he's with Karine Jean-Pierre here, and he's pushing back a little bit regarding what took place earlier when he asked that question, and now he's presenting it to Karine Jean-Pierre. So with that being said, let's go ahead and roll the clip between Peter Doocy and Karine Jean-Pierre sparring it out over student loan debt.
Thanks, Karine. About the student loans, how can the country afford such a massive handout?
Yeah, well, Ambassador Rice said that she's happy to have that discussion. I'm happy to have this discussion as well. Look, if you look at what this president has done, if you look at the end of this coming end of the fiscal year, $1.7 trillion that we have brought down the deficit. That matters. That matters. And if you look at the Inflation Reduction Act, it's going to add another $300 billion, is going to bring down the deficit again.
And you might spend.
The question, Karine, for the love of God, Biden just got back from vacation. She hasn't been around. You would think that this little bit of a break would help her figure this out on how to use her head and listen with her ears. The question was, how are you going to pay for it, you knucklehead? She didn't answer it. Oh, well, we decreased the debt by $1.7 trillion, and the Inflation Reduction Act is going to pay off even more debt of $3 billion. Lady, you're spending like over $600 to $700 billion on the student loan debt forgiveness plan that you're pushing. And nowhere in that sentence or paragraph that you said on how to actually answer the question of how you're going to pay for it. So let's see if Peter Doocy follows up.
$300 to $900 billion extra. So you can do that and not.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. What we are trying to do here, we are doing this responsibly. You heard directly from the president. This is something that is going to be important for middle class Americans. When you think about 90% of the folks who are going to actually benefit from this are making $75,000 or less, and you think about what Republicans did just a couple of years ago, they signed off on a $2 trillion tax cut for the wealthy and did not provide any way to pay for that. And that, again, here's what we...
Peter Doocy's staying on point, folks. The man is staying on point, and you need to, because she came out with a jab. You got to give her a point for that, you guys. The way she's talking about how Republicans spent money. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. She has a point here. She got a good hook in. Peter Doocy's not letting up, though. He's still hitting those body shots. He's not letting this point down because he knows he has a point here that she can't answer, and we're seeing that in real time.
Here's a lot about how much it might cost, it might not cost. Who is paying for this?
What we are saying is the work that this administration has done, the work that the Democrats in Congress has done, is actually there, and you see that the 1.7 trillion deficit deduction that you see is going to benefit us in being able to do something for the middle class, to do something.
What the hell is she talking about? Does anybody for the love of God, know what this woman is talking about. I mean, he couldn't, it's actually impossible for Peter Doocy to be more clear in this question. I mean, he literally said it verbatim. How are you going to pay for this? Oh, well, Peter, we have $1.7 trillion of deficit, so that's how we're going to pay for it. What? What?
For the middle class.
But when you
This
forgive-
is about doing something for people who make less than $125,000,
But-
$1.7 trillion. That's what we've been able to do.
But when you forgive debt, you're not just disappearing debt. So
But-
who is paying for
but-
this?
And then I'll give you the second part. We lifted the pause, right? We're going to lift the pause at the end of this year, which is going to matter, right? Which is going to offset a lot of what we're doing as well. When you think about the $4 billion that's going to go back into as revenue back into this process of
$300 billion in 2022 is going to go towards paying for the student debt forgiveness. $4 billion is going to be coming in, what she's saying. That's a deficit in my mind of, I don't know, $296 billion deficit on this. That's without the extra $329 plus billion going to 2031 if it's extended. I mean, anybody else doing the simple math on this, or am I the only one? She's not making any sense here.
folks paying right their college tuition, that matters as well. So we are doing this in a smart way. We are doing this in a way that's going to be effective. We are doing in this a way that keeps to the president's promise on giving people who need some breathing room, who need some breathing room. I just laid out for you. No, Peter, I just laid out for you how we're seeing this process and why this matters. Again, I just laid out because of the work that we have done in the economy, because of the American Rescue Plan, because of the Inflation Reduction Act, and because all of this work that this president has done has brought down our deficit by $1.7 trillion, unlike what Republicans did when they added to our deficit $2 trillion and did not care at all or thought about how this was going to be paid for. They did not actually put in a process or think about how we're going to do this in a smart way. This is not how this administration is doing it. Again, we are happy to continue to have this conversation, but I'm going to move around. Go ahead.
How can you say that you're happy to have this conversation, but yet then you're going to follow up and say, well, I'm going to move around? You didn't have a conversation. You didn't even answer his question. He only asked one. How are you going to pay for it? Who is going to pay for it? Folks, these people get paid six figures to do this type of job. This is who Democrats elected. She can't answer sixth grade questions. We'll even give her some credit. High school level questions. Who's going to pay for it? Corporations? Americans? You're going to sell bonds? You're going to take out more debt? You're going to print money? Like, how are you going to do this? And somehow she said in there, according to her, that she answered the question. I didn't see it anywhere. Let me know if you did. I didn't. It's so freaking, it drives me up the wall. How many times have we done Karine Jean-Pierre videos? How many times you gotta see me freaking getting pissed? And I hope all of you are with me as well, because you start to feel a little bit crazy when you do this. You watch it, and it's almost as if it's like you do this so much where you listen to this crazy lady and this guy running the show called Joe Biden, that it almost throws you in there of like, am I missing it? Am I really that stupid where it's like I'm missing somebody that has one of the most important jobs out there to lead the free world, and she has the job to be his mouthpiece, and I'm for some reason listening, and so is everybody else, and I don't hear the answer to the question, but somehow there's Democrats out there that believe that she actually answered the question? I mean, it's so freaking baffling. Where we are at as a country, where literally you are the secretary, the press secretary of the leader of the free world, and you can't freaking answer a simple question. But yet when Jen Psaki was press secretary, you had Joe Biden called Peter Doocy a dumb son of a bitch. But yet, he can't answer simple questions when he's walking out of the Oval Office. His first mouthpiece, Karine Jean-Pierre, Jen Psaki, couldn't answer simple questions. She can't answer simple questions. So who's the dumb people? It sure hell isn't Peter Doocy, because he's the only one out there asking good questions. I shouldn't say the only one. To be quite honest, there was a couple reporters in that crowd that are actually growing on me. But time and time again, folks, this is what we're seeing from Karine Jean-Pierre, not answering any questions, and Democrats let it go. I'm still waiting for Joe Biden to get his ass on that podium. I'm sure all of you waiting for him to sit there and actually answer these questions for himself, but he's not going to do it. Multi-billion-dollar corporations get tax breaks. Is that fair? Freaking idiot. Well, speaking of idiots, we got freaking Anthony Fauci back in the news. This guy won't go away. I mean, he's going to go away sooner or later because he is hiking it out of there before the next presidential election, thank God. But this freaking guy just will not disappear. Dr. Anthony Fauci denied that the pandemic lockdowns had done irreparable harm to anyone and decried what he called character assassination for many of his critics. He denied this, you guys. You got to be next level stupid to think that the pandemic didn't do irreparable harm to people. People lost their jobs. People lost their businesses. People lost their entire retirements because they had to sit there and pay for that business and their employees and other people while they weren't receiving an income. You have to be so far off the reservation to say something like that. It is mind-blowing. We all say stupid stuff, folks. Look, we all say stupid stuff every now and then. To say that you don't, you got to be genuine, right? I say stupid stuff as well. I probably said stupid stuff on the show before. Nothing this stupid. Nothing this stupid. This is some next level dumb. Fauci made the comments while appearing on Fox News' show on Tuesday after announcing on Monday that he would be stepping down from government service. Thank God. Can we have like a victory parade as if we just won World War II to get this guy out of office, or freaking out of the government, I should say, for that matter? He's getting like a $325,000 pension every year, annual pension. Folks, I mean, the president of the United States makes what, $400,000 a year? Right now, I believe he's making more than the president of the United States is. Granted, based on Joe Biden's performance, maybe that's somewhat good because Joe Biden sucks at his job. We won't be paying him a lot of money for doing that kind of crap work. But $325,000 annually for the rest of his life, going to his crap work on what he did, it's ridiculous. So let's go ahead and watch this short clip here of Dr. Anthony Fauci just saying dumb things.
To essentially get to the point where we slow, if not shut some things down. And the record will show, Neil, that we didn't recommend shutting everything down. We wanted to cause a pause, to remember the terminology, to flatten the curve.
But in retrospect, Doctor, do you regret that it went too far? Whatever.
In retrospect, you said 15 days. We went on like 2 years. We're still going on with this crap. What are you even talking about? 15 days to flatten the curve. I mean, the whole purpose of the 15 days and the whole purpose of shutting things down was not overwhelm the hospitals. But then somehow it transitioned to this whole thing of like, you have to get vaccination. You got to get your 15th booster. You got to make sure you're masked up 3 times. You can't go inside businesses or anything without a mask on. And you never opened things back up, even when hospitals were like a desert. Nobody was coming into them, and you still kept everything shut down. So what the hell are you talking about?
Your original intentions were, and it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback here, but that it went too far, that particularly for kids who couldn't go to school except remotely, that it's forever damaged them.
Well, I don't think it's forever irreparably damaged anyone, but I think obviously, and if you go back and people selectively, Neil, pull things out about me, I was also one of the people that said we've got to do everything we can to get the children back in school. Go back to some of the clips that you and I had on your own show when I've said that it's very important that we protect the children from the collateral effects of keeping them out of school. Go to the record. I have said that so many times.
So if we had something, God
and yet
forbid,
there's
like
a
this again,
distortion.
Doctor, I'm sorry, and the same ideas were bandied about, a shutdown, let's do things remotely. Would you consider that? Do you think we should, as a country, consider that again?
I think we should always learn lessons from the past, Neil. That is one of the things about medicine and science and public health that I have tried to do for my entire 50-year career, to be flexible and open-minded. So if you look at things we may not have done.
What is it with people in the Biden administration or Biden supporters, because you know this guy's not a conservative Republican, what is it with not freaking answering the question? Simple. If there was another pandemic, Anthony, would you shut everything down again? Oh, well, you know, we could shut down or we could learn from the mistakes of the past, blah, blah, blah. It's aggravating because now we have to pay this guy $325,000 for the rest of his life. For the rest of his freaking life. To say that there was no irreparable damage, really? Like I said, the government shut businesses down. Businesses were literally shut down, never opening again. Can't afford it. Kapoof, gone. Entire retirements freaking thrown out the window. Some people were looking to retire and gone. But, you know, it's fine. It's not irreparable, according to Anthony Fauci. This guy's an idiot. He needs to go out and freaking throw another horrible opening pitch there at the freaking baseball game or whatever the hell he's doing, because everything this guy touches just goes to trash. I mean, look what he did with freaking AIDS. The guy's been around since AIDS. Look how he handled that. COVID-19. You know he would shut everything down again. You know, and I love it. He's like, oh, well, I wanted to open up the schools. Did you? Really? You said, Anthony Fauci, yes, we can open up the schools. If you do this laundry list of things, sure, you can open back up. But go to the record. Let the record show that I said open up schools if you do this, if you mask up, if you put partitions up, if you have kids that are 20 feet from each other, you can't have more than 50% capacity. You have to have dividers. Like, the whole list. It's as if you couldn't meet those demands in the first place. So he's going to push this. Thankfully, you got another gladiator out there named Governor Ron DeSantis, who's on the campaign trail, putting out phenomenal campaign ads. But he's coming out taking shots at White House's chief medical advisor, Anthony Fauci, on Tuesday, saying that Fauci has done a lot of damage as the government's leading spokesperson on the COVID-19 pandemic and has never apologized for being wrong. Okay, well, he's not going to apologize, okay? It's like asking Donald Trump to apologize. It's just not going to happen. I don't think I've ever heard Trump apologize. Anthony Fauci should apologize because he sucks at his job. He does. And that's why I love when Rand Paul goes after him every time. And look, this isn't the end of Anthony Fauci. Rand Paul is telling NIH to not get rid of any documents. You better not destroy a damn thing because they're going to go after Anthony Fauci. If you have a Republican in office, even in 2024, Anthony Fauci better be puckering up because boy, oh boy, if you thought the raid of Mar-a-Lago was big, wait till they start going after Anthony Fauci. Cool. I think he's done a lot of damage, DeSantis said during an interview with Fox and Friends. I think he should have been gone long ago. And if you think about what he's done with his arrogance, that's part of the reason why he's advocated policies that have been so destructive. He thinks people that disagree with him are somehow beneath him. I love when Ron ever gets on the freaking TV because he's a smash hit. The guy hits a grand slam every freaking time. So let's go ahead and roll this clip with Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, hopefully future president of the United States, on Fox.
Okay, you're going to miss him?
Well, I think he's done a lot. He should have been gone long ago. And if you think about what he's done with his arrogance, that's part of the reason why he's advocated policies that have been so destructive. He thinks people that disagree with him are somehow beneath him. But his policies were the driving force behind locking kids out of school in parts of this country for over a year, forcing them to wear masks for 8 hours a day for 2 years. He cost people jobs. He destroyed people's businesses with his policies. And he was never willing to admit he was wrong when it was clear that those policies don't work. You know, it's one thing when you're in the thing, when it just came out, it was a novel thing. There was a lot of information people needed. So just admit that some of the things you said were wrong, and he will not do that. He's not been honest about what he did in Wuhan with funding the gain-of-function research. And so I hope if Republicans take control, that they will get to the bottom of everything from the origins of COVID to all the manifest failures of the public health establishment, particularly Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Right. I think he's.
So there's something quite interesting, right? When he talked about when Republicans get in, he hopes that they will do this, right? I read that as he's not running in 2024. I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong. Either him or Trump, it's all good to me. But I am backing what he said, obviously, in terms of if whoever's in office, whoever's running the show, needs to go after and start doing some investigative research here. We haven't seen anything happen to China. We will be rolling into 2023 soon, 3 years after the pandemic. And nobody in the world, this entire globe or planet, has done anything about China releasing a devastating virus upon the globe, of which is still having ramifications today. And this guy, who's probably in bed with China, meaning Dr. Anthony Fauci, is sitting there not admitting his faults and his wrongs, even though the decisions and policies that he put in place were extremely destructive, not just to adults, but also to children. The governor's jabs come a day after Fauci announced he will be leaving his government job at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases for other career opportunities. Fauci has served in various public health roles for more than 5 decades, becoming the chief spokesperson for the government's COVID-19 pandemic response over the last 2 years. His ubiquitous appearances on cable television and his news media during the pandemic made him a household name, but also brought intense scrutiny from those like DeSantis who opposed his policy recommendations. Like, let's be honest, it wasn't just DeSantis. There's a lot of people that oppose this guy. There should be a lot of Democrats that oppose this guy, because this guy went from basically being an individual to a political freaking pawn that's sitting there making, he's not an elected official as far as I'm aware, but why is he being treated like one? It was the same idea of us listening to the CDC all of a sudden, as if they're elected officials, like they're the end all be all, telling Americans what they can and can't do. And then if you don't follow this, then this is what's going to happen to you. Your business is going to be shut down. You're going to be thrown in jail. You're going to receive a citation. Like, but it's all, none of it was irreparable. There's no damages, folks. He did everything perfect. He didn't do a damn thing wrong that entire time. Unfreaking believable. And I mean, you got to be just out there in some way, shape, or form to at least not be able to look at and go, yeah, you know what? I screwed up on that and I screwed up on this. Maybe he does feel that way behind the scenes. Maybe he's just big-headed like Trump and he's not going to admit it. But even though through self-reflection, behind closed doors, he does understand when he makes faults. He does understand when he makes bad decisions. You got to know Trump thinks that way, right? I mean, the guy's a businessman. He knows when he makes a bad decision. He knows when he makes a bad investment or he makes a bad business strategy. He's not an idiot. Dr. Anthony Fauci, as much as I call him an idiot and he's made idiotic decisions, he's not a full-fledged idiot, right? He's not like just a complete knucklehead. He just doesn't want to admit his faults, which I think he should. I think he owes it to Americans for the damages he's done. Trump didn't do really any damage. He didn't really do anything. I know Democrats want to say he did. They're like, oh, well, look at his school. Look at the thing he tried to open up, the Trump school or whatever the hell it was called. Okay, sure. We'll give you that one. Fine. What about all the other things? Not even close to being comparable with what Anthony Fauci did with COVID. Not even close. Not even the same freaking realm. Public health officials, including Fauci, insist those dramatic measures taken to slow the spread of COVID-19 early in the pandemic were necessary to save lives. Their critics have argued lockdowns and similar measures failed to deliver on promises to mitigate virus spread and impose grave socioeconomic costs, including but not limited to a recession, inflation, and exacerbation mental health crisis, and children falling behind in school. Though Fauci is set to leave office by the end of this year, Christmas, I can't wait. Christmas, I hope he leaves. I hope he leaves before December because, man, Christmas cannot come early enough to see this man go. Though Fauci set again to leave office by the end of the year, Republicans should attempt to hold him accountable for his handling of the pandemic if they reclaim majority in Congress after the upcoming November election. Quote, I hope if Republicans take office, they will come to the bottom of everything. Not just with Fauci, but with COVID as well. And you got DeSantis, you got Trump, you got Rand Paul, you got Ted Cruz, you got a lot of Republicans that want to go after and get to the bottom line of this. You would think if Democrats cared about anything, that they would be doing the same thing too. Remember how Joe Biden was like, oh, well, China's going to eat your lunch, Trump. Really? You're telling, with what's going on right now, if you're not doing a damn thing on China, you walking on eggshells, Joe, you're going to tell me that he's not eating your lunch when in some sectors of industry, their economy's doing better than ours? Okay, sure. I'm going to believe you, Joe, over anybody else. I'm going to believe Anthony Fauci over anybody else. I'm going to believe Karine Jean-Pierre over anybody else. I don't think so. I don't think so one damn bit. And I don't think any of you are as well. So that's what we have today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I tried to make it a little bit more interesting, throw video clips in there, and kind of just recap and re-loop what we've been talking about since we started the show with student loan debt forgiveness. So it looks like we've come full circle here on this whole thing. Looks like it's going to be implemented. Looks like we're footing the bill for other people, folks. So I hope you're all happy where your taxpayer dollars are going, not going to where it should be. It's going to other people's pockets. As always, folks, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you tomorrow here on the Bald Brad Show.